earned 8% annual interest, and this is compounded semi-annually, which means that in a year it would be compounded twice in a year. And they also give you the formula for the future value of an investment, and here n is referring to the number of compounding, so n in this case the semi-annual n would be 2. So if we apply it here, they tell us that the total value after 1 year is 10,816. So they're giving us this, and the question is, what was the value of P? So here the interest rate is 8%. So this would be 8 over 100 divided by 2, and then 2 times 1. Because it's just 1 year, so there's 2 compoundings here, so that would be 1 plus 4 over 100, so it's going to be 0.04, or you can just think of having this interest, so 4% equivalent would be 1.04, so this is P times 1.04 square, so the principal is 10,816 divided by 1.04 squares. So for this we can just use the calculator, so this would be 2, and then find the inverse. Oh, it would be a nice number, so I have to guess. Yes, it's 10,000, so the answer is choice B. Music. So here we're shown this triangle ABC, and one of the sides is of length 2 centimeter, and there's another triangle DF that's not shown that is so similar to triangle ABC, so let's just draw that. And it's similar, so you just have to write the corresponding side, so ABC, so D F, so the labeling would also correspond, and they tell us that angle B is congruent. Okay, so they're just emphasizing that again. C is, so that's the correspondence to this, that and these 3 angles are equal, so the length of side D is 6 centimeter. Questions of the area of triangle ABC is 5 square centimeters. What is the area of triangle DF? So the key thing is to know the multiple here, which is this is. The sides are all going to be 3 times, so that means that this base, so for example let's call the base here as B and the height H, so the area would be base times height over 2 is equal to 5 square centimeters. Now the corresponding base here would be 3 times B, because we notice that here the sides are 3 times AB, and the height would also be the same thing, would be 3 times the height here, so the height also is in the same proportion for similar triangles, which means the area of this triangle would be 3 times base times 3 times the height of that triangle divided by 2. This is what we're looking for, and you notice that this is 9 times BH over 2, which is the area of this triangle, so the area of this triangle would be 9 times 5, or 45 square centimeters. Essentially the multiple would be whatever the ratios of corresponding sides, you square that, and that would be the multiple that the area of this triangle would be. So the answer is 45 square centimeters. Choice D, music. So here we're told that m is an odd integer, and the questions which is a 4. These numbers we have to indicate whether they are odd or even, so I will start by doing that in a general way. So start with 2m minus 1 if m is odd 2 times m even times odd would be even, so even minus 1 1 is odd. Will be odd, so this will be odd. You can also do it with number, for example m is 3, this would be 2 times 3 minus 1 5, so here this using numbers would be easier. Actually, but I just want to emphasize the more general way of doing it too. As the problems get harder you might need to be able to do that, so same thing to m plus 1 again. 2m is even plus 1 is odd. You can also do m as 3, this would be 2 times 3 plus 1 6 plus 1 is 7 m square minus m if m is odd. Odd square minus odd. Odd squares odd or times odd. Odd is even, so this would be even, or you could say 3 square minus 3 9 minus 3 is 6, and then finally that odd square plus odd plus 1, which is odd. Odd plus odd is even. Odd squares odd, and then your hard plus even is odd. So here again if we do m is 3, this would be 12 plus 1 is 13, or so those are the choices. So here we have to identify the statement that is not true for all real numbers a and b. So let's look at some of the familiar ones. I see the difference of squares. Yes, this is true for all values of a and b, so that one is out. This one we can do a quick expansion. This is a square plus b square plus 2a b, and then thus in parentheses would be a square plus b square minus 2ab. If I distribute the minus here, I will be left with the 2ab terms, because a squared minus a squared, these cancel out. I get for ab, so that one is also true for all a's and b's, so we're really left with that one is the cubic expansion a plus b cube is indeed that. If you don't recognize this, then you have only option you have is to do the expansion, but you could also just multiply this out. This would be a cube minus ab plus b squared, a square minus b cube, and you'll notice that this is not equal to a cube minus b cube, because this term is not equal to 0, so the answer is D. This one, I think this one is a good one to know, the cubic expansion. If you don't know, then your option would be to do a plus b squared times a plus b, so this is a squared plus b squared plus 2ab, and then you do this expansion, so that's b square ab cube to a squared b plus 2ab square, and then you'll notice that this is 3a square b, that becomes 3ab square, and then bq, so that is indeed identical to that, so the answer is D. Then bq, so that is indeed identical to that, so the answer is D. Then bq, so that is indeed identical to that, so the answer is D. Then bq, so that is indeed identical to that, so the answer is D. Then b. We're told that for any positive integers a and b, this operation cross in a circle is defined as 2a minus 1 raised to the power of b minus 1, and the question is asking us to evaluate this product. So the way to do this is to first start with the inside the parentheses, so 2, I'll call it cross. And here a is 2, b is 2, so we replace wherever a is with 2 and b ver 2, and compute this. So would be 2 times 2 is 4 minus 1 is 3, 3 to the power of first is 3. Now we replace this with 3, this would be equivalent to 3 cross 3, and then now we apply the rule again, where now a is 3 and b is 3, so this would be 2 times 3 minus 1 to the Power of 3 minus 1, so this is 2 times 3. 6 minus 1 is 5, and that's 2. 5 squared is 25 is the answer. We're told that a company manufactures electronic components that each must weigh from 29.5 grams to 30.5 grams, and we have to express the fact that the acceptable weights which could fall anywhere between 29.5 and 30.5 would satisfy an inequality, so of course we could just write x is greater than or equal to 29.5 less than or equal to 30.5, but we need to express it as an absolute value, because if you look at choice C and DC, is x is greater than or equal to 29.5, that's not enough, and D is x is less than 29, so that one clearly is out. So the way to think about this, because this is a general type that comes up often, is that if we look at the midpoint here, the midpoint is 30 in any value that's to the right or left of the midpoint. The distance between x and 30 is x minus 30 absolute value, that's the same as 30 minus x. It doesn't matter because we're taking the absolute value, so that's the distance, and that has to be less than or equal to half, because it can at most be half if it's here. So all of these values have to satisfy this condition or this. They're both equivalent, and we notice that that is indeed in the answer choice, which is A. Now you could also start with that and then try to use some example values, and to eliminate that certainly is acceptable. I mean, for example, you could say one possible value is 30.4, and you see which of the answer choices satisfy, and if you look at B, you would plug in 30 minus 30.4. Is that greater than 0.5? This is absolute value of minus 0.4, which is 0.4 is not greater than 0.5, so that's how you'd eliminate B, and then you would narrow it down to A. So to recap, the answer is E, music. So this question, we're given this list of 5 non-zero numbers A, B, C, D, E, and we're told that x is the standard deviation. Question is for each of the following sets indicate which sets must have a standard deviation equal to x, meaning which of these operations do not change the standard deviation. So when you add a constant to all of these numbers, if the mean, let me start with if the mean is m. For this set the mean would be m plus 2, but the deviations would remain the same, meaning the deviation of the third number would be m plus 2 minus c plus 2, which is m minus c, so deviations remain the same as before, so the standard deviation actually doesn't change. So if you subtract the same number from all of them, it's also the same. However, if you double the number of the deviations will double, and the standard deviation would actually be 2x. So this one only these two, not that. And then here, if you have the numbers, the standard deviation would actually also have, and again this one doesn't have the same standard deviation equal to x, so only the first two have the same standard deviation. Music. We're told that when Bill makes a sandwich, he may choose from among 3 kinds of rolls for varieties of meat and 2 types of cheese. The question is, if he chooses 1 roll, 1 meat, 1 type of cheese, how many different kinds of Sandwiches can he make? So this would be the application of fundamental principle of counting, which is you can send like 3 rows. For that first rule we have 4 choices for the meat and 2 for the cheese, so the number of different kinds of sandwiches I can make is the product of these, which is 24, and so choice C, music. So here we're given this inequality 3x minus 4 is greater than or equal to 0. Question is, which of the following subsets of the real numbers best describes the solution set? So we'll isolate what it says about x, add 4 to both sides and divide by 3. We get x as a number that greater than or equal to 4, 7. So this is 1/4, third is here, so we're looking for all these numbers greater than or equal to 4/3, so that set would be inclusive of 4/3 to infinity, and that's answer choice B. Music. So here we have to find which of the following statements about an event A are true. Start with the first one, the probability that the event A will occur can be less than 0. No, it has to be. The probability of that event has to be greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to 1, so that 1 is out. Second is the probability that the event A will occur can be equal to 1. Yes. 3. The sum of the probability that event A will occur and the probability that event E will not occur is equal to 1. That is true, so the answer is choice 2. And 3 only, which is choice C, music. Here we're asked to find the difference between the mean and the median of these 5 numbers, so the median is the middle number. Median is 29, mean would be I need to find the sum of these numbers, so that's going to be 54. This is 67 and 29. So that's 20, 11, 13, 11, 13, 15 divided by 5, that's 30. So the average or the mean is 30. They're looking for the difference, which is 1. Answer choice B, music. We're told that in a class with 50 students, 25 are female, so 25 are female, which means remaining 25 or male. 15 of the students are mathematics major and 10 of the math majors are female, so out of that we have 10 that are math majors, and that means that since there's a total of 15 that are math majors, that would be here. So we'll see which of the categories we have to fill here, and after we read the question, if the student in the class is to be selected at random, we need to find the probability that the student selected will be female or a math major, are both female or a math major or both, so female or a math major or both, so there's 25 females, and this is already included here, so out of 50 that would be the numbers that would come from here. We need our math majors, there's 5 more here, so this would be a total of 30. 30 people would satisfy this condition. Female math major or both. The 10 here is already included in that 25, so the probability would be 30 out of 50, which is 3/5 or 0.6. Answer choice C, music. We're told that on an exam for a class with 32 students, the mean score was 67.2 points, and they tell us that the instructor rescored the exam by adding 8 points to the exam score for every student. What is questions what it was the mean of the scores on the rescored exam, so if you add 8 points to each one of the data sets, the mean would actually go up by 8, and I won't go over why that is here, but basically or sum would be 8 times 32, and then you have to divide by the number, so that the mean would just go up by 8, so the answer would be 67.2 plus 8, which is 75.2. We're told that a company employs 10 programmers and the company decides to expand into digital animation and needs to transfer 3 of the programmers into the new department. Questions: how many different combinations of 3 programs can be chosen? So this is the selecting groups of 3 from a pool of 10, so there's a combination problem 10C3E. You could either do that, or the equivalent is, if you use the counting principle, your 3 slots 10, 9, 8, but since the order doesn't matter, if I have people A, B and C, that's the same BAC, so I have to divide by 3 to 1. Destroy equivalent, both will give you the same answer, and it's just about reducing this. So 4 times 3 is 12, 12 times 10 is under 20. Answer choice C. Music. So we're told that the faces of a fair cube are numbered from 1 through 6, and the probability that any number shows up when you roll the dice is equal. We're told that the cubes roll twice, so first and then second questions: what is the probability that an even number will appear on the top face in the first roll? Or how number 1 will appear on the top 4's face in the second row? So actually, what I find is easiest to do these problems to just kind of count the total number of cases. So here we have 6 choices for the first cube and the 6 to the second, so the total number of distinct outcomes are 36. So we need to find that the total number out of that 36 which would satisfy this condition. So if I start with the first one being, this could be paired with outcomes 1 through 6 on the second one, so that's 6, and we have 3 of these, so there's 18, where the first one will be even. Now if we have second one fixed at first at 1, which is their desirable outcome here, and these could go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so there's 6 more. Now the thing you have to take into account is that there is some of these outcomes are common, and those would be 2 with 1, 4 with 1, 6 with 1, which would be encountered here, so I have to subtract those 3 here, so the total was 21, or the number of outcomes that would satisfy the condition that they've given us, so the probability would be 21 over 36. Total number of possible outcomes, he's a favorable, divided by 3 through 7. 12. Choice B. Music. We're given that R the set of numbers access that x is greater than 0, so R would be all these numbers here. This is the excluding the origin, all these numbers, that's R, and S is the set of numbers x such that x is less than 3, so this is 3. We're looking at these numbers here, excluding 3 questions: what is the number of integers in our intersection? Yes, so we're looking for the region where they share, and so we're looking for integers here, so 1 and 2 would be the only 2 integers that satisfy, so the number integers there are 2. Answer choice B. Music. So here we're given this data that a scientist observed about the bacterial growth in a sample, and then this is just a scatter plot of that same information. So we're given these 4 functions that we need to identify that best models. This so we can do is select specific points and then test to see which one gives us the closest answer. So I'll start with t equal to 0, and so all these data points have to satisfy that. The number is 100, so 2 to the power of 0 is 1, so this is indeed 100. That's 100 as well. 0 is 0, that's 100. This would be 120 log of 1, and that's 0, so this is actually 0, so we know this one is out. Now next point we can consider is t equal to 2 nice numbers, so that would be 2 squared time 100 is 400, and that's close to that. Actually it's equal, that one would be 104, so we know that it's also out. This third choice would be 4 plus 440 plus 100, and that's 544. So we notice that this is going to the closest, so it's this exponential function. If you want, you can kind of test it for one more data point, maybe at 600 times 2 to the 6, so just 5 is 32 to the 6, 6400, somewhat close to that. So the answer is 100 times 2 to the power of t. Answer choice A. Music. So here we're given the system equations and we were asked to find what the value of x is, so which means that I need to play with these equations so I can eliminate y terms. So here if I double this and triple this, they have negative signs, but these coefficients would become the same, so double the top equation multiplied by 2, so that becomes 4x plus 6y equal to 10, and then triple this, 15x minus 6y equal to minus 48, and then if I add them the y terms would drop out. This would become 19x is equal to minus 38, which means x is minus 38 over 19, and that is minus 2. Music. We're told that the width of a rectangular garden is x feet and 300 feet of fencing is needed to enclose the garden, so that's 300 feet as the perimeter. Questions: which of the following represents the length of the garden feet? So if the length is L, the perimeter would be 2L plus 2x, so we just need to isolate L in terms of x, subtract 2x from both sides, and then L would be 300 minus 2x over 2. I have to divide each term, so this would be 150 x. Yeah, don't do things like that, that would be the trap answer. So the answer is 150 minus x. Choice C. Music. So here the savings bond needs to mature in 8 years, and the final value would like it to be $5,000, and the interest rate is 4% annual, but the compounding frequency is monthly. And the way I have to think about this is that if the interest rate is 4% annual, that means on a monthly basis it's going to be 4% divided by at all, and in terms of the percentage increase every month it's gonna be 4%, which is 0.04 over 12. That's the increment, which means that if the initial amount, which is what we don't know, you're incrementing it by 0.04, I guess 1/3%. Roughly, not nothing roughly, actually it is 1/3%, because 4% divided by 2 is 1/3%, and that's the increment, meaning It's going to be 101/3% of the value at the end of each month. Now we're going to be doing it in 1 year. You'll be doing it 12 times, but we're gonna do it 8 years, so the number of monthly increments would be 12 times 8, which is 96, and we want this result to equal 5,000, and we need to back alkaloid P, so this is where you're gonna use the calculator. 1.00033333. This number to the power 96. Use the calculator to compute that. Let me actually do it here. So 10.04 divided by 12 plus 1, so it's 1.00333 to the power of 96. That turns out to be 1.37264, and if you divide that, we get, if we divide 5,000 by that, we get P to be 3632, and if you look at the answer choices, that's closest to $3,650, which is choice D. And this question, we're told that M is 4 and N is 2, and we have to find which of the expressions are, whether they are, the value will be rational. A rational number, so I'll start with this 1 cube root of 4 minus 2, that is cube root of 2, that's going to be a rational. Look at second one, this would be square root of m cube for a cube. 4 cube is 64, that's 8. So that's rational, and then that is cube root of m over n, so that's going to be again cube root of 2, that's irrational, and then finally square root of m plus n square, so 4 plus 2 squared, that's 4 plus 4 square root of 8, that's 2 root 2, that's irrational, so those are the choices. So we're told that a student asserted that n square is greater than or equal to n for all real numbers, and the questions which is one of the which of the following examples for a value of n that provides a counter example, meaning one that actually contradicts this. So the choices are minus half, 0, half, and 2. So we're looking for a case where the square is actually less than that. So if you look at, say, half, so I kind of know this half square and half, so this is a quarter. Quarter is not greater than or equal to half, so this is a counter example, because other cases, if we look at 2 square, yes, that does indeed satisfy 0. The euro square is 0, so they're equal. That also satisfies. Then minus half square is indeed greater than minus half, because this will be positive, so the counter example is half. That Sam's for choice C. Music. So here we're shown this graph that shows the closing price of one share of stock O company Y for each of these 5 business days. Questions, which is the finds closest to the percent change in the closing price of one share of stock from Tuesday to Wednesday. So looking at one Tuesday to Wednesday closing price. On Tuesdays $6 increases to $10, so we have an increase of $4, and as a percentage of original, that's the percentage increase we're looking for, that's 2/3, which as a percentage is 66 and 2/3%, or approximately 67, and that answer choice C. Music. Here we're told that A is a non-empty set and A, both B and C are A subsets of A. Questions, which of the following Statements must be true, so I'll just start with all the choices B union C is. Well, not necessarily, because you could have elements in A that are not present in either B or C. This is B intersection C is empty set, that's A. That would be only if they were identical. But they could have elements that they don't share, which in that case wouldn't be empty, and they're saying B is either identical or subset of C. It doesn't have to be, it could be the other way, so again this one is out. And finally, D is the correct answer, that is B union C. All the collection of elements in B and C together has to be a subset of A, because both B and C are subsets of A, so the answer is. We're told that the area rectangular field is the product of its length and width. Each dimension of the rectangular field is multiplied by 3, meaning the length is now 3L and the width is 3 times W. Then the area of the enlarged field would be 9 times LW. Is how many times the area of the original field, so there would be 9 times the area of the original field, so the answer is 9. Music. So here we're given the statement, if it snows then school is closed. You have to find a logical equivalent statement to that, so this is a classic type of problem here, where you use the contrapositive of this, that is that if the school is not closed then it does not snow, so the answer is D. The remaining ones you can also eliminate using logic. It says if it snows then school is not closed, while if it snows we know school is closed, so this one it's not equivalent. The school is closed then it snows. No, we can't do that. The school is closed, it could be maybe there's some other reason, so it doesn't mean that it's necessarily snowing. And then if it does not snow then school is not closed, so they're saying if it doesn't snow school is open. But here the school is open, but the school could be closed for some other reason, so again that one is also out, so we're left with choice D, that is if the school is not closed, meaning that the school is open. Then we know for sure that it doesn't snow, because we're told that if it snows then the school is closed, so the answer is D. That if it snows then the school is closed, so the answer is D. That if it snows then the school is closed, so the answer is D. That if it snows then the school is closed, so the answer is D. That if it snows then the told that the results of a survey of 200 college students showed that some students who were business majors were women and all students who were business majors took calculus. Which of the following is a valid conclusion? So I'd like to draw this out visually. So 200 college students showed that some students who were business majors were women, so let's say this is business. No one business. We'll see if this demarcation is important. And some students who were business majors were women, so women men, and all students who were business majors took calculus, so all of these actually gonna take calculus questions. Which of the following is a valid conclusion from the survey? So go through all the choices. Here all students who were women to calculus, no, because there's gonna be women here, men here, because this would imply that all over women took calculus. but this category did some students who were women, some students who were women. Took calculus, yeah, that one is good, and some students who were women did not take calculus, some students who were women did not take calculus. So what we don't know is what we know is all students who were business majors took calculus, but it's possible that all non-business majors also took calculus. That we can't do that. Some students who were women, some students who were women were not business majors. We actually don't know if there are any women here. It's possible that this number is 0. So this we can, so we're really left with this one. We know that some students who were women took calculus because this could be 0, so the answer is B. Were women took calculus because this could be 0, so the answer is B. Were women took calculus because this could be 0, so the answer is B. We're told that if g of x is x cubed minus 2x minus 1, what is the value of g of minus 2? So our input really is minus to replace wherever x is with to watch out for the negative, so this is minus 8, or 2 times minus 2, that's gonna become plus 4, so this is minus 8 minus 1 is minus 9 plus 4 plus 4, so this is minus 8 minus 1 is minus 9 plus 4 plus 4, so this is minus 8 minus 1 is minus 9 plus 4 plus 4, so this is minus 8 minus 1 is minus 9 plus 4 plus 4, so this is minus 8 minus 1 is minus 9 plus 4 plus 4, so this is minus 8 minus 1 is minus 9 plus 4 plus 4, so this is minus 8 So here we're told that Gloria left work, which is 1 mile from home, so this is home, and she went to the bank, which is 4 miles, and then she spent 20 minutes there and then she went home. So the question is, which of the following graph shows the distance versus time starting from this point? So she's a mile from home at t equal to 0, and then as she goes to the bank, that distance is gonna increase some function, and then she's there for 20 minutes, so she's at the same distance from home, so there's gonna be a flat point, and then when she goes back home, her distance to the home is gonna decrease and then go to 0, so it's gonna be some function like that, which is closest to answer choice D, music. So here we're given values for functions f and g, and these tables question is, what is f of g of 3? So first we need to compute g of 3, which means input is 3 with that x is 3, g of 3 is 5, so f of g of 3 would be f of 5, and the input here is 5 and f of 5 is 4, so that's the answer for music. We're told that a house was purchased for $140,000 and 3 years later, so 3 years later the value of the house was $155,000. We're told that if the value of the house increased linearly from the date it was purchased, which is a fine represents the value in dollars of the house years after the date it was purchased, so we can use the linear model mt plus b, and we can find the slope from the fact that after 3 years change in time the price goes from 140 to 155,000, so the slope would be this difference, 15,000 divided by the delta in time, or 3, so this would be 5,000. So the equation is he is 5,000 t plus b, and then to Find this. We know at t equal to 0 he is 140,000, which means this b is 140,000, so the function is 5,000 t plus 140,000. And if I look at the answer choices, this is same as choice B. Music. So here we're given this graph of y equal to f of x, which looks something like this, and they're asking which of the following could be the graph of y equal to f of x plus 1. So x plus 1, this means a shift 1 unit to the left, so this whole graph is gonna shift 1 unit, so something like that, something like that. And if you look at the answer choices, this is same as choice E. That, and if you look at the answer choices, this is same as choice E. That, and if you look at the answer choices, this is same as choice E. That, and if you look at the answer choices, this is same as choice E. So this question, we're told that the painting was purchased for $22 million, and when he later was sold for $26.4 million. Questions the profit, which is the gain here, that's $4.4 million, was what percent of the original price? So we need to find that gain as a percent of the original price, so write it as a fraction multiplied by 100. If that dozen will not count of 0, 22 goes into 44 twice. 2 times 10 is 20%, of the answer is 20. We're given that x and y are non-zero integers. Questioners, but justifying must be an integer, so it's a must be, not could be, so this could be an integer, but it doesn't have to be. For example, if x is 3 and y is 7, this is not an integer. So A is out, b is x plus y square over x. Again, we can write it as 1 plus y square over x dividing each one, but y square may not be doing x, so again this is not an integer. C is x square plus xy, or x divide each term by x, this becomes x plus y, and this is an integer for all values of x and y, because both x and y are integers, so the answer is C. Let me just for completion do D again. Do the division, that's just x. That's an integer, but again y square over x may or may not be an integer, so the answer is C, music. So here we're given two sets. The first one has elements A and B, the other one has B and C. These are distinct numbers. I told which of the following ordered pairs is not in the Cartesian product AP, so the product would be pairing elements from A and B. The first element has to be from A and second from B. Questions which of the following is not in the Cartesian product, so I'll examine the answer. Choices A, B is there is in the first, B is B, A, B here is in the first, but there is no in the set B, so this one hard does not belong to the Cartesian product across B. If you look at the remaining, just for completion I'll do that B, B, Y, S, P can come from here and B from here. So that's acceptable, and then B, C, B, and then C, so the answer is B8. So that's acceptable, and then B, C, B, and then C, so the answer is B8. So that's acceptable, and then B, C, B, and then C, so the answer is B8. So that's acceptable, and then B, C, B, and then C, so the answer is B8. So that's acceptable, and then B, C, B, and then C, so the answer is B8. So that's acceptable, and then B, C, B, and then C. So we're told that each number in data set A is increased by adding 3 to each of the data points to form set B. Questions: which of the following is the same for sets A and B? So mean, median. Well, actually mean would go up by 3, so that won't be the same. Median would also go up by 3. Mode will also change. Which I was the most frequently occurring would be 3 higher, and range is the one that would remain the same, because if the elements are x1, x2, xn, and I add 3 to each one of those, and set B, there would be x1 plus 3, x2 plus 3, all the way to xn plus 3, and the range is the difference between the largest and least, and since they're both being increased by 3, the difference remains the same, so the range would be the same. Answer choice D, music. So we're told that Sam opened a restaurant, and on the first day he had 100 customers, then on the fourth day he had 160 customers. They tell us the number of customers per day grew linearly. Question is, what was the number of customers on the second day? So the beginning of first, second, third, fourth. So we have essentially starting with 100, 160. So we have really 3 segments here. So in total 3 days we had a growth of 60 customers. So per day as 60 over 3, or 20. Which means this would be on the second day would be 120, because it's growing by 20. So the answer is 120. Music. Which hold that in a group of 33 students 15 are enrolled in a math course, so 15 and math, 10 in physics, and 5 are enrolled in both mathematics in a physics course. So this is a Venn diagram problem anytime you see an overlap. So math physics total is 33 students, and there may be some that are enrolled in neither, so that total is 33. This is 15, that's 10, and they tell us that 5 were enrolled in both the mathematics course and the physics, which means math alone would be 10 because the circle is 15. Same thing, physics alone is 5. So if you just add these regions, that's total of 20. The question is, how many students are not enrolled in either a mathematics course or a physics course? Which is this outside, and that would be 33 minus 20, or a 13. Answer choice C, music. So we're told that a drawer contains exactly 5 red, 4 blue, and 3 green pencils, and 2 pencils are selected random one after the other without replacing. The first question is, what is the probability that the first one is red and the second one is green? So the probability that the first one is red, we have 5 out of a total of 12, so that's 5/12. And then once I've taken out a red, now I have 4 red, 4 blue, and 3 greens. Questions: what's the probability for the second one is green? So that would be 3 out of 11. Now these are independent events, and the probability that the first one is red and the second one is green, it's just a product of those two. So that's going to be, actually we can simplify this 5/40 for answer choice A, music. This question we're told that f of is 1/x, 2x is not equal to 2, and g of x is 2x for all values of x. Question is, what is f of g of 0? So first we can Compute g of 0 from here. Input is 0, so that's 2 to the 0, which is 1. This becomes f of 1 because g of 0 is 1, and we can use that rule with the input x being 1, so f of 1 would be 1 over 1 to 2 1 over minus 1, which is min 1. Answer choice. So here is shown the scores of 6 students PQRST and U in 4 exams. Which are these choices A, B, C, D? We have to identify the graph in which the scores show the least standard deviation, meaning they deviate the least from the mean. So we're looking for a graph where the data sets are closest to the mean, and if we look at visually, I mean here, of 2 that are really far apart from the remaining 4, so that's gonna have a higher standard deviation. Same thing here, really low to high, and this is the scanner is also high, so this one looks the best. We have 4 that are 80 and then 2 that are 90, because here that the spread is too much, so we can just examine this visually. I was here, if you look at as 80 80 and then 100 100 100 100, so the answer is A, has the least standard deviation. Music. So here we're given this function and we're asked to identify the choice that gives the graph for this function. I will just qualitatively draw this out. For x less than 1, so this is the origin. X less than 1, it's x squared, so this is the equation of the parabola, so this is going to be x less than 1 for all these values. It's going to be like that up to this point, and when x is approaches 1, this would be 1, so that would be this point here would be 1 1. Now it's a value of constant 2 when x is greater than or equal to 1. South from this point there's a jump, and then there's a straight line that goes on forever, so that's the graph. And if I look at the answer choices, that's the same as choice D. Just to point out, this is open circle, meaning x is less than 1. This is a closed circle. That would be the value of function when x is equal to 1, so the answer is D. We're told that a rectangular flat screen monitor has a diagonal that measures 20 inches, so that length is 20 inches. The ratio of the length of the screen to the width is 4 to 3, so L, this is W. Hello / W is 4 to 3, or you can also write this using the multiplier, that this is 4x and this is 3x. They're asking for what is the perimeter of the screen in inches, so this is the 3 4 5 multiples of that, means this is 5x. This is the 3 4 5 triangle, which means x is 4. X 5x is 20, so we know that length is 16, width is 12. They asking for the perimeter, which is 2 times L plus W, 2 times 16 plus 12, that's 28 times 250, times 16 plus 12, that's 28 times 250, times 16 plus 12, that's 28 times 200. Music. We're given that a circular pizza with a 16 in diameter, so 16 in diameter, which means the radius is 8 in, is cut into 12 equal slices. What is the area and square inches of each slice? So the entire area of pizza would be SQU. Where is the radius? 64 pi. It's being divided into 12 equal slices, which means area of each slice would be 64 I/12, and I can reduce the 4 asterisk 3 and that's 16, so the answer is 16 pi un slash 4 asterisk 3 and that's 16, so the answer is 16 pi un slash 4 asterisk 3 and that's 16, so the answer is 16 pi un slash 4 asterisk 3 and that's 16, so the answer is 16 pi un slash 4 asterisk 3 and that's 16, so the answer is 16 pi un slash 4 asterisk 3 and that's 6. So here we're told that we have a circular table and that has a school area of pi square feet and a square tablecloth is on that table, so this may not look perfectly like a square and it just touches the edge of the circular table. Questions: what is the area of the tablecloth and square feet? So we have to somehow relate the radius or diameter of the square of the circle to the side of the square. So here, if this is radius, that's radius, that would be the diameter, the sides are SS, so this is a general relationship that comes up in a lot of other problems. This is a right isosceles triangle, so the diameter here is going to be s root 2, so s root 2 is equal to 2r, or s is 2r over root 2. So the area of the circle is pi square feet, which means is equal to pi r square. So I can find r square is 1, radius is 1, so the side of the square is 2. Times 1 over root 2 is the same as root 2 goes to a root 2 is root 2. They're asking for the area of the tablecloth, so we're looking for s square, which is just 2, so that's the answer. We're given that f of x is 4 times 2 to the x. Question is, what is the value of f of 3? South, place x with 3, get 4 times 2 to the 3. This is 4 times 8, or 32 is the answer. So here we're shown the circle, we're told that has center O and the measure of angle A or B, so for the sector that's 45 degrees. We're told that the area of the shaded sector is 18 pi. What is that radius? So here, if you know the area of the sector, we can find the area of the circle because it's in proportion to that angle. So this entire angle is 360, so you can find 45 as a fraction of 369 times 5 is 45, 9 times 4 is 36. This is 1/8, so the area of the sector is 1/8 the area of the circle, which means that the area of circle would be 8 times 18 pi. So now we need to find the radius and area. If the radius is r, pi r squares 8 times 18 pi, which means r square is 8 times 18, and this can be written as 4 times 2 times 18, that's 36. The reason I'm doing that is because I need to take a square root. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 36 is 6. The radius is 12. So we're told that a box contains 12 red tickets and 8 blue tickets, and 1 ticket was chosen at random and not replaced, and then the second ticket will be chosen at random. We're told that the first ticket chosen was red. Question is, what is the probability that the second ticket chosen will be blue? So 1 has already been taken out, left with 11 red and 8 blue, so the probability that the second one would be blue would be 8 out of the total, which is 19, so that's answer choice B. We're told that in 2010 the world population was, so that's a lot of zeros Here so that's 258 so 68 asterisk 10 to the power of 8th and the population of the United States was about 310 a million so this is 31 asterisk 10. 7 question is approximately what perk of the world population was the population of the United States so we need to find this as a percentage of that. That's so times 100 so that knocks out 10. That knocks out so it's about 310 over 68 and we can kind of ballpark cause this is about say 70 this is 31 over 7 so it would be about 4 point something and if we look at the answer choices the one that's closest is. So here we're told that if the annual interest rate for an investment is 20% and it's compounded 4 times a year questions which are the finds closest to the effective annual yield so let's say the amount was P the amount at the end of the year would be 1 plus you divide the annual interest rate by 4 and then we'll have 4 periods here so 4 times 1 because it's 1 year so that would be the amount so that's 5 over 100 so 0.05 to the power of 4 we'll compute that using the calculator so 1.05 to the power of 4 and that's 1.2155 so what they're asking for is the effective annual yield. Meaning if the amount P dollars was invested what would be the percent the effective percent change for the whole year so it goes from P to 1.155 which means the percent change would be 21.55% because this is P plus P times 0.2155. Because it's really 1 plus so that means a change of 21.55% and that's I should look at the answers this is closest to 21.6% answer choice B music. Here we're given that 2.4 times 10 to the 6 over 3 times 10 to the minus 4 is 8. Times 10 to the n question is what is n equal to so we'll start by simplifying this so 10 to the 6 over 10 to the minus 4 would be 10 to the 10 because would be applying the difference rule 6 minus 4 that's 10 3 goes into 4.8 times so this is 0.8 times 10 to the 10 and that's same as 8 times 10 to the minus 1 and this becomes 10 to the 9 because we're to add these two so 8 times 10 to the 9 is 8 times 10 to the n so therefore actually this is a hand which means n is equal to 9 answer. Choice B. We're told that the regular price of a pair of jeans was $50 and this regular price was discounted by X% during the sale and the discounted price was 30. So X% of this would be extra 100 times 50 and we're subtracting that and the discounted price was 30 questions for this X equal to so we can find I'm just gonna move the X terms over and bring the number to the side so that's 2050 goes into 100 twice so X over 2 is 20 X is equal to 40 so the answer is 40%. Answer choice C. Here we ask to find the answer choice that is an irrational number start with a square root of 36 SC that's rational so that 1 is out B square root of 14. can be written as root 2 times 7, and that is irrational, so that's the answer. But I'll do the remaining ones to confirm 2 of 1/3, that's again rational. So that's out. D is root 8 over root 2, that's the same as root of 8 over 2. Square root of 4, which is 2, again that's rational, so the answer is B. Music. We're told that the cost to manufacture this glass bowl was $100 and the glass ball was probably 30% about this cost, which means 30% of that is just $30, so the price was $130. Now they tell us that after 1 month this price was discounted by 25%. Question is, what was the discounted price? So we're gonna discount it by 25%, and that's gonna be 4 times 3 is 12 to 4, so it's gonna be 32.5. You know 22 for the reason I thought should be something else, and I'm gonna subtract that from 130, and it's gonna give me $97.50, so that's it. That would be the discounted price, which is choice A. Music. The 1000. Music.